Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Reds Worldwide. It's your host again, Dad, who's been out for a bit, just out enjoying time with friends and family, getting away from the Liverpool nonsense for the international window. Now we have some interesting news today. My co-host today will be Mr. Reese, who I have not seen in so long. Reese, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm good, I can't complain. A little tired and cold because it's winter now, but same old, just cracking on, grind, trying to keep busy, trying to do as much things as possible just to be productive. But yeah, I'm good. Thank
Oh
you.
yeah, I completely understand that. Hassan, my brother, I have not seen you in so long. Actually, think the last stream I did a couple weeks ago was with you. So how are you doing?
I'm good. Just thank God the international break is over and it's not there till March. So good days.
Yeah, absolutely. And just for people who are watching, and maybe even for Reese and Hassan, if they don't have been following the Twitterverse on the international break, is that this is the last one before March. So from pretty much now until March, or is it February, Reese? Is it is it
March, I think March. Yeah,
It is
correct.
March.
March
Yeah,
21.
so it's gonna be crazy from now. And Liverpool right now, top of the league and the Premier League, top of the league in the Champions League, Super League format. Not know some people are gonna be annoyed by that, but it is a Super League pretty much at this point. Still in the FA Cup. I think we don't even play our game until January, and still obviously in the Carabao Cup. Everything's been looking bright for Arne Slot start for the Reds. We have some topics we'll discuss today, but obviously because it's my first time back. Reese, I kind of want to get your thoughts on how do you think the season's gone so far? I mean, obviously, with the summer transfer window being as well dull as it was, considering, and the fact that the only players that really came in, I think it was just Chiesa. I don't even think we brought anybody else besides him. Obviously, selling a bunch of youth players. Up to this point, is this about what you expected, or on a slot overperforming? Are they underperforming? I mean, it's kind of hard to underperform when you're top of both leagues, top of the table in both leagues. But do you think we're kind of on par? What are your thoughts so far up to this point?
I'm very impressed. Obviously, it's still early. I think it's a fantastic start that we've had. I don't think I didn't expect us to fall off. How a lot of rival fans said that was going to fall off because Klopp left and there's no motivation. Because if you actually look at it, Klopp left us in a very good position. We've got quite a good squad, got a lot of good youth players coming through, and obviously he built his office in between the youth talent and the main talent, so he could see everything. Um, I've been quite impressed. Obviously, Slot, I didn't know too much about him, but you got to remember a lot of the time, FSG, in terms of giving them credit here, they always kind of do their due diligence with managers. And obviously, they're going to try and get someone. If you look at his history, they got someone who can work within a budget. I know we don't really want to work within a budget, but they want someone who's not maybe going to upset the apple cart too much. And he looks like he's come in and he's probably saw it as I'm going to prove myself. And then once I've proven myself, then you kind of got to give me what I want. Yeah, I've been quite impressed. It's like I said, it's still early. I still believe for me that City are favourites. I know a lot of rival fans and bookie makers and even Sky Sports and stuff are saying, "Oh, Liverpool favourites," but for me, that's a load of rubbish because Liverpool are only 5 points clear. But yeah, I'm very happy that the way we started. Obviously, some of our performances we could improve, but the most important thing is about getting 3 points, and that's what we've been doing. We've been winning more often than not. So long may it continue.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree with you. I didn't think the drop off from Klopp would be massive, but I thought there would always be that, he's such an emotional leader. eh, when that energy comes out of Liverpool, is there enough there, both in the squad depth, their abilities, because obviously Liverpool fans are always, we're going to question and pick apart our players. We're going to be their biggest critics, even more so than Sky Sports' cast of Man United commentators. Hassan, how are you feeling about this start so far? I mean, again, like you can kick off, you can definitely respond to anything Reese just brought up there too. Like I said, I feel like I think it's really hard to look at this other than like a pretty solid, impressive start. Just to kind of segue into it a bit, you know, I I've I feel like we've seen what I know this team is capable of from Klopp's time, but just a bit more refined, a little bit more controlled. I think it's the best way people have said it. And it's now starting to fulfill the potential of this, as Klopp put a Liverpool 2.0. But what are your thoughts, Hassan?
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I think maybe none of us would have thought that we will be flying like this. We were optimistic, but the start and the way we are playing has exceeded our expectation, because there was the problem which was identified not just by us but by the club as well, that we need a defensive midfielder going into this season. But the transformation of Ryan Gravenberg has been exceptional, and it has been really positive to see a new manager coming in and utilizing the players who were already there and improving some of them as well. Um, he's not afraid to for changes. Konsa was expected to start with Virgil, but as soon as his start was not that great, he was replaced. And Konate has been world class. He has been exceptional. So it has been a fresh breath of fresh air. But I think till now we are a bit pessimist. But if we beat Real and City, then the expectation will get even higher, and hope will rise in us.
Yeah, absolutely. I think those two games will very much let us know like where Liverpool are at, not just literally in the table, but I think mentally, because if they can beat City, is it a home or away game, Reese? I'm not sure off the top of my head. Is it City away? Is it home?
Home.
So
Liverpool.
home,
Yeah, so
Anfield,
See,
both
Liverpool.
game are at
Yeah.
yeah. So if we can get that home win, which I think the last time we beat them at home was the 22-23 season, which was not a great season. And then before that, I think the last time we beat them at home was the 1920 season, which is when we won the title, obviously. So if we can somehow get a win against City, it doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't have to be, the best game of football. That is a good marker to put down, because that will give the players the mentality of we can win the league. Obviously, there are players there that have already won the league. Whether or not they're staying is another whole question. But there's this new crop of players that we have: your Gravenberches, your McAllisters, Soboslais, Nunez, Jota, I don't know, just like Chiesa, who's now back in training, Diaz and Gakpo that don't have this experience. So if you think about the squad in general, roughly only about maybe 20 to 30% actually were on that title winning team. And even Curtis Jones didn't really contribute all that much to it, or Harvey Elliott for that matter. So this is going to be interesting time, not because if they don't win, it's over. It's more that if they can win, overcome that mental hurdle, beat Madrid, beat City, I think that sets them up very well. It's interesting you mentioned transfers, because obviously we've had a lot of players out injured. There was no midfield signing in the summer. Even going all the way back to June, I've always said that you can make an argument to sign any of these players. It really just depends on what does Slot want from that team. What does he want at left back? What does he want in the midfield positions? What does he want in the forward positions? I thought Chiesa was a very smart signing. I still think that way, even if he turns out to be more of a Shaqiri than say a Maxi Rodriguez, throwback for the kids. That's still a good buy, because Chiesa is very flexible. He's pacey. He's obviously talented. He's not long-term injured. They've just been getting up to speed as far as we're aware. Obviously at this point we've seen that Jayden Dance is now back in the team, who had that really wonderful month of February to March where he showed how talented he was. James McConnell, someone that played a lot for Klopp, more than you would think, is now back in the squad as well. Hassan, I'll go to you, and then Reese, we'll go to you to start off on this first topic. Do you think, obviously, with the fact that January transfer isn't open yet, that Slot is going to use these youth talents with this congested window? Because so far he hasn't really done that, except very occasionally, which has been to the ire of a couple of our contributors and hosts. The fact that he has not used the likes of Tyler Morton or Connor Bradley as much, though Connor was injured. Do you think that they're going to use these youth talents more, or do you think there's a better possibility that they're going to have them around, but maybe dip into the January transfer market? Hassan, I'll go to you first.
Yeah, there is so many rumors coming in before the transfer window even is open. Somebody tweeted that we are the busiest before the transfer window actually comes in. So there are links with uh, that Leon player Cherky, uh, which are seems to be really serious. Uh, there are other rumors as well, but I don't think it will be. Maybe there, if there's some opportunity player, uh, we will sign if he's available and the price is right. Because thank God there is no urgent need which looks to be looks like to be catered. So I think with January transfer window coming in, if there is someone who's available and the price is right, we'll go like Chiesa. It was an opportunity. He was not the player maybe in the position that we were urgently required, but the price was right and his pedigree, we went for him. So I think in this window, I think if someone like uh, that Leon player, because of Leon's problems in financial problems, maybe we'll go for him. No urgent signing, I think, is expected.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the one that you're referring to is Rian Shikari, Olympic Lyon. For those of you who don't know, maybe watching over us on YouTube or X slash Twitter, maybe eventually Blue Sky. We'll see how Blue Sky goes. The Olympic Lyon have been relegated to Ligue 2 because of issues with their financial records. Again, not the only French club that had this issue. Bordeaux famously were put in the amateur leagues. Rian Shekari is one that's been linked to a lot. Obviously, there's a bunch of other very talented players there. I'm not really big on Rian Shekari because he's kind of just another version of Chiesa, but with less output. Like if people are mad about, Dominic Szoboszlai not scoring or assisting enough, I don't think Rian Shekari is going to improve that as well. I do think Zubimendi is the one that people are going to be banging on about. I just don't think there's a world in which they can sign him. I could be wrong about that. Reese might might disagree with that too. I just don't think they'll do that. It's possible because we have missed out on summer targets and signed them in the January window. Luis Diaz was someone they were going to sign this summer. They signed in January, though earlier. Van Dijk, obviously the big one. Even Gakpo was someone they were looking at in the summer, and then they ended up signing in January as well. But Reese, what about you? Do you think they'll go into the market for, say, an Olympic Lyon player? Again, I think we only have one foreign registry. I think maybe it's two. I think it's one or two now that we can register with the Premier League. So if we are buying a player, they are most likely probably going to be someone that is either going to start in February or March, or I think more likely that they're looking to have them start, say, August of 2025.
Obviously, I think we've been linked with, is it Xerxes or from
Yeah.
Rio?
Yeah, Xerxes. I mean, I think it is Xerxes, Rian Xerxes. I say Shikari, but I forgot how to pronounce the name. But I think it is Xerxes.
I think he's quite a talented player. Obviously, it seems like there's a bit of a dark cloud over him because of his attitude and whatnot, and at the same time as well, Liverpool look like they're looking for a cheap or a quick fix or a cheap option because Leon have financial problems, so they kind of have to get rid of players for a cheaper price. Potentially him, because obviously over the last week or so, rumors have been quite strong saying that Liverpool's in contact, and it looks like, I think obviously Slot wants a 10. I do believe with the options we have, I think Curtis should be given a run because he's playing quite well. Obviously, Szoboszlai hasn't really hit the ground running again this season. in the 10, and I would push him back in terms of in the 6 alongside Gravenberch, because I think.
Oh, I was going to ask you that. I was going to say, do you think they might be going up to Shaqiri because they want to push Szoboszlai back?
But potentially, but also I do think it could light a fire in Szoboszlai, because I think he needs to go back into the 6, because off the ball what he offers, he's doing very well. He's tracking back, he's closing down. Obviously, he's quite quick. He's very athletic. It's just on the ball, he doesn't seem as confident. He doesn't seem like himself. So it's either you push him back with Gravenberch, or I do believe that might light a fire in his stomach, and then he might, if he has a few games out of the team, it might make him think, oh, like, I'm not playing anymore. I kind of need to step up. I need to kind of produce more, because Slot has said that. It's clear Slot obviously rates Szoboszlai, hence why he keeps playing him, but he has said that his output does need to improve. In terms of some of the other young players that you and Hassan were talking about, I think Conor Bradley's going to get a run now because Trent's injured. So from what I was reading, I think he might be a few weeks. So he's in training, but I don't expect him to play this weekend. We'll see. Obviously, you got Man City and Real Madrid. He'll probably play him, but I would play Bradley. I rate Bradley highly based on what we saw last season. He came in when Trent was injured as well. I don't even really consider him a young player because he's captain of Northern Ireland. So for me, he's a senior player, and he got a good run out last year. We've got Elliott to come back. I think you might see bits and pieces of Endo and Tyler Morton. I think Jayden Dans and Trey Neon and players like that. If he doesn't have to play them Slot, I don't think he will, because he wants to protect them. So if Liverpool are down to their bare bones, like how they were last year with Klopp, then you will see them. But hopefully they go and get a 6, like a Shoemeni or Zubimendi. Even though I hate to say it, I do think Zubimendi will go to City, because it just looks like it could be that way, because Rodri's injured and he's the next in line.
And Kovacic is injured too. Kovacic is now injured too for 3 or 4 weeks.
Signed a new deal as well. A lot of shady stuff over there, but yeah, hopefully they get a 6. And obviously I heard they've been linked with Kirkes, is it, from Bournemouth, the left back? I rate him. I think and obviously Hughes has got that connection there because he's the one who brought him to Bournemouth. So for me, hopefully we sign someone, but I think if we do sign someone, knowing FSG, it'll be 1 player when really we should buy 2 players. And it might not even necessarily be for the 6 or the left back. It looks like it could be a 10. So it looks like they're looking for that cheap option. So yeah, I guess time will tell. We just gotta wait. We've got to wait and see.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think just with the looking for that kind of that more cheaper, I think the term Hughes used in the summer was opportunistic signing. You know, that's really what Chiesa was, someone that they had eyes on. The reason I don't think it might be a 10, even I can be wrong, and I'm very open to being wrong about this, but the reason why I don't think they would buy a 10 is because Hussein Ali, thank you for commenting. Obviously, anyone who's watching over at X/Twitter or YouTube, if you want to get in the comments, make sure you hit like and subscribe. Follow the YouTube channel LSU Transfer Room for your daily streams and dose of Liverpool media, fan-driven media. But Reese, the reason I don't think that they might get a 10 is because Harvey Elliott's now back.
Yeah.
And I imagine you're going to see him there. You know, Chiesa has been a 10 before. We might see Chiesa come back and play as a 10 as well. I think Xerxes a good player. I don't think he's as good as people rate him, but he's obviously a talented player. People are going to be banging on about Omar Marmoush over at Eintracht Frankfurt, which he's just been absolutely ridiculous over there this year. I'm not as sold on Marmoush as some people are, just because I think that Bundesliga strikers have a tendency to flatter to deceive. The last one that has been really good was Erling Haaland, but that was everyone kind of figured that Haaland was going to be good. Yeah,
he's an anomaly for me, Haaland, because he's an alien. He's not from this planet. So yeah.
Exactly. And we haven't had the best track record with citing forwards recently. If you think, or citing strikers specifically, if you think of Darwin Nunez, who I think is more closer to a Emil Heskey signing than a Fernando Torres signing. And again, that's not an insult on Darwin. I just think that that's probably where he's going to more end up, as someone who's around a 1 and 3 player. Very useful, didn't quite hit the heights that people maybe expected or wanted him to hit with a physical profile, but players of the play around, and you can build a team around that player. So with that in mind, another player they're probably going to have to position to look at, I know you mentioned the 6, is center back. So obviously this was something broken yesterday afternoon or last night in British Standard Time was Virgil van Dijk is allegedly signing up his new contract with Liverpool. I hope he signs because I think he's still the best defender in the world. Obviously, center backs' legs go before most of the players. But because there's just not that many good center backs in the market right now, I feel like that, getting Van Dijk tied down to their contract is probably the most important outside of Trent and Mo. I've always said that, the one player you couldn't lose is Trent. The second most important was Virgil van Dijk. Obviously, people have different opinions. I think you can survive without Mohamed Salah, as good and brilliant as he is. But yeah, Virgil van Dijk potentially getting a contract signing. It is Indy Kyla, so take it with lots of grains of salt. But Reese, if they're signing Virgil van Dijk to a contract, do you think they're going to sign a center back? My reading would be no. At least not one that they're at least like going to loan out, like they were looking at like a Lenny Euro, so they might be looking at a younger center back. But I think if they're signing Virgil, not signing a starting center back, is my opinion. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't think so. I still think we've got to remember, I think it's essential that Van Dijk signs a new deal because he is the captain. I know they kind of look at age and whatnot, but for me, he doesn't look like he's slowing down. He looks like he's still got a good few years left in him. And you can see what he's done in terms of, look at the development of Konate. I don't know if you lot saw the video of the speech he did before they played Italy. So you can kind of see that he's maturing. We know he's a phenomenal centre-back as well, with a lot of potential, but you can see that he's maturing as a player. You can definitely tell that he's picked up things from Van Dijk. He probably picked up a few things from Henderson last year as well. Because when I first heard that, I was like, it's Ibu talking, but it doesn't sound like Ibu talking. It sounds like someone who's more mature, he's growing up. So he's definitely developing nicely. We've got Kwanzaa there as well. You got to remember, you still got Gomez. I think a centre-back, we won't prioritise that for me until the summer. And if we do, I do believe it should be a hybrid, more of a centre-back / left-back or left-wing-back, someone who can play both sides. I don't want to get someone who's just fitted to one position, ideally. So yeah, if Virgil does sign, which I do highly expect him to, out of the three, I expect him to be the first one. I don't think we'll sign a centre-back until the summer. I agree with you, Dan.
Yeah, and to be fair, I actually really like Kerkez, and I mentioned him too. Milos Kerkez from the Hungary. I really rate him too because he's very much more of a defensive left back, but can kind of do a hybrid role. He's not really a hybrid left center back, but with the way that most teams play now, where there's a bit more positional freedom with everything, I think that he could be a very, very good. I feel like he could be a very, very good alternative to say Andrew Robertson and Costas Simicast. I also think that they might decide to keep one of, say, Chambers or Beck, because both are on loan right now. And, we can argue about who is the most talented youth player, but from what I'm speculating on the recruitment policy, but I think they want to keep one of the youth development players in each rough position. So we've had Kelleher for so long. I think they want to keep Yaros, sell Kelleher, keep Yaros, keep Georgi Mamadashvili, let them all battle it out for the starting position, and keep, say, Ben Doak, who is someone we also signed as well. Hassan, so I'm going to come to you, and we're going to talk about the elephant in the room. And the elephant's name is a slightly smaller English right back named Trent Alexander-Arnold. He's currently injured. No fault of his own, but he's just currently injured. Connor Bradley is going to be starting for at least the next couple of weeks. I believe next 2 to 3 weeks is what roughly the reporting coming out of, say, the Echo, Joyce, James Pierce, all the more kind of more reliable journalistic circles in Liverpool. Right now, he's most likely going to go to Madrid. He gets out a pre-contract agreement in January, but most likely if he does go, his contract will expire in June, and he'll just sign in July, like Kylian Mbappe did. Reports are showing that Madrid are also weighing up options for Pedro Porro. Now, I don't think they're going to pay 58 million for Pedro Porro. No one should spend 58 million for Pedro Porro. That's like spending 80 million on Reece James. It's not because Porro is a less good player, but because it's essentially the same idea of throwing money down a well. James, with his injury history, as talented as he is, his injury history is terrible. And with Pedro Porro, I don't think he's worth more than I don't think he's worth more than 35. I'm being perfectly honest to all the closeted Tottenham fans out there. So if Madrid are looking at Porro, which they are probably going to look at alternatives to Trent, does that give you confidence that Liverpool will sign a contract with them? Or do you think this is just like press releases to cover for the fact that Trent's probably going to Madrid?
I think with Pedro Porro, I think they are seriously looking at him because he's their second option, and if Trent is staying, who else they will get? And with their injury concerns, I think Lucas Vazquez was playing as a right back now, and he's injured too. So they desperately need a right back, and if they want to sign him now in January, nobody in their right mind will think that we will sell Trent for 58, even 60 million. So I think there's contingency for them that if Trent maybe Trent has not given them a definite answer, and there are more positive vibes coming from Pedro Porro because he's Spanish, and he would like to play there as much because Trent is at the number one team, his hometown club. That is not the case. Same with Porro. He's playing at Tottenham, and he would like to because for Spanish Latin players, it's a lifetime opportunity and a lifetime dream come true for them. So I think if there are the first uh, uh, 2 weeks are crucial for us and Real as well. If Trent does not give us an indication, maybe we'll uh, tell him that now you'll be our second choice or third choice. Corner will start every game, and just sit and sit and wait. Hopefully, it's not the case because his dream was to captain Liverpool, and Van Dijk will play 1 or 2 seasons more, so he should be looking to fulfill his dream.
Yeah, absolutely. Reese, I'll throw it to you as well. Similar question. Madrid have so many problems right now. I think that at times we get very jealous of Real Madrid because of the pedigree, partially built by being partially built by the policies of one certain period of Spanish history. Allegedly, potentially, someone should investigate that. They have so many problems right now, and they have FFP issues too, mostly in the fact that they can't really spend that much money on transfers because they've gone to the policy of signing a bunch of players on free contracts. They've adopted the Juventus approach to transfers. Don't spend any money in the transfer market, just give them a massive sign-on bonus and then build your team out that way, which handicaps your transfer budget because, wages to turnover and UEFA is calculated differently than it is in La Liga, which is different than the Premier League, which is a whole nother conversation. I don't see a world where they spend 58 million on Pedro Porro. I mean, that's a reported price tag. They might bid obviously lower. For me, it just seems press coverage from Madrid saying that, well, we don't actually well, Trent, you're not our only option, so you got to come to the table and make a decision. I mean, for me, it just seems more of a story from maybe earlier this summer where they're trying to put pressure on Trent to either go, well, he can't sign the agreement yet, but to either say no to Liverpool or to yes to Madrid now. That's how I read. I read it as like a cover story for the fact that I think Trent's most likely going to leave at this point in time because there's been no positive news, even with the in the nose on Trent's contract movement, because I think he's going to ask for absolutely ridiculous wages, and regardless of whether or not we think he deserves it, I think that there's going to be a point. There is a point to where Liverpool are going to say no and Madrid are going to say yes. But what do you think?
It's tricky because obviously he's a Scouse, so that's the only thing I'm thinking in my head of why I'm still low-key I still think that he's going to stay. Obviously, Liverpool have kind of put themselves in this position because I do believe he deserves a pay rise. I don't believe he deserves to be the highest paid player at the club, but you've allowed his contract to get to this point, so he's got more of a say. He's kind of in a stronger position because we know if he does go to Real Madrid, they will offer him kind of whatever he wants. With the Pedro Porro thing, I do agree with you. I think that's kind of more of a smoke screen. I think that's just them applying pressure to Trent to either make a decision with Real Madrid or you stay in Liverpool, Real Madrid, and it's a bit more coverage for them to let the media outlets in Spain know, but everyone else know that Real Madrid have other options. For me, they would much rather Trent only because they can get him on a free. I don't think they want to pay 58 million. I'm not saying they haven't got it, but they do have a few bit of financial issues there because of the amount they're paying Mbappe, even though they got him on a free. The signing on fee and the wages he's getting, I think that's costing them a lot of money. Right now, I'm not sure if Trent's going to stay. In the low key, I think yes, because he's Scouse, and I do think he's from there. So if he does leave in this manner, where we're not able to like sell him, or at least if you signed a new contract and he decided to leave in 2 seasons time or 3 seasons time, fair enough. But if he left now, I think it would be hard for him to come back to Liverpool. And you got to remember his family and his friends and everyone are from Liverpool. I know he's got Bellingham, who's his best friend over at Real Madrid, but Bellingham's not from Liverpool, so he doesn't have to worry. And if he's smart, even though I know you can win more things over there, and it looks like he's looking to see what ambition FSG have. It's not just about necessarily money. From what I've heard, he's looking to see if they're going to show some ambition. For me, we know they don't show enough ambition. They show just enough. They don't show too much or too little. It's kind of like just in between. I don't think they're going to change that for Trent. If they didn't change that for Klopp and certain other players, they're not going to change that for him. So right now, if it gets to December and like maybe the last week and we still haven't heard nothing, then I'll be like, yeah, he's probably going to go. But I still think low-key, I think they will offer him because they know that's bad for business with his age. He's got that longevity still. Even if he doesn't stay for the rest of his career, he stays 2 or 3 years, you can make some sort of profit off him. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, I've said this ever since I think we started covering this topic a bit more in depth last year when these contracts were coming up. I actually think what he might be waiting for is to see who the next manager is, and I think it's going to be Xabi Alonso, and that may also be what Trent is more interested in. The ambition point for Liverpool's owners in FSG, that's probably going to go into it, mostly in the sense that I think Trent's going to be thinking, are we going to have the best squad in the league next year? Are we going to get the players that we think we need in order to continue to be competitive and win as a team? Because Trent's kind of already gone through that period. He went through the 2022-23 season. He went to the 2020-2021 season, where I would argue at least in the 2020-2021 season, that was the chance they could have won 2 league titles in a row. We didn't, for a variety of reasons that mostly come down to the fact that all of our center backs get injured, and that was really what derailed that season. I do think that I've kind of resigned to the fact that I think Trent's going, but I think that if Virgil van Dijk signs, or we get that announcement that Van Dijk signs, I think that puts pressure on him, or at least Salah, to get their deals done. And, if you get Virg for 2 years, maybe a third, Salah for 2 years, maybe a third, but you lose Trent Alexander-Arnold, that stings. But I think what that does is that kind of keeps the most of the squad together that you would need to still be competitive at a high level. At least competing for titles, competing for trophies, competing for Champions Leagues as well. I do think it would be possibly the worst blunder in FSG's history, the fact that Trent Alexander-Arnold got to walk away on a free transfer to Real Madrid.
100%.
I don't think there's any way to sugarcoat that. I think there's a lot of mitigating circumstances around it. I don't think it's as cut and dried as one party or one group takes blame. It's a cumulative effort. They all buy into the same ideas. But it's not going to look good. And I think they know that. And I do think they know that. They're not unaware of how they're perceived internally and externally. Whether or not who they value their opinions as is a whole nother discussion. But I think it is probably going to end up with Trent going to Madrid to join up with Xabi Alonso on a free, because because Madrid needs center backs. They have no center backs. I don't know a world in which Florentino Perez is going to spend 58 million on Pedro, or even 40 million plus on Pedro Porro when they have so many problems. I think for me, I just think that's how this situation ends, reading it from what's happened these past years. And honestly, listen, if Trent looks at what's happening right now and he says, actually, this isn't for me, I'm leaving, like, for me, that's on him. Like, that's his decision, saying, like, actually, Slot, he's too bold for me. I want to go with Xabi, the handsome Basque player. And again, Trent knows, he knows the ownership group. He's been under them since he was a youth player. He's worked for Slot now for 3 to 4 months. He's adapted to he knows what the new work environment is. If he puts his hands up and said, this isn't for me, I'm going to Madrid, it won't be, no one will be happy about that, but at least I can look at him and say, like, okay, I understand why you did that. And we can throw pelters at FSG, the Edwards in the past, Hughes, Klopp, whoever is gets it on the day.
Can I time in again quickly, if you don't mind?
Oh yeah, go ahead, Reese.
If he was to leave, though, I don't believe it will be because of Slot. Because from what it sounds like they get on quite well, and he's pulled him aside when he could have said to him that you're not great at defending. He kind of spoke to him in more of a mature way and said, this is certain ways how you can improve. Hence why he kind of came out and said he wants to improve as a defender. Obviously, I don't necessarily agree with he wants to win a Ballon d'Or from being defensive. I don't think that's going to happen. But the fact that he said he wants to improve defensively tells me that they're getting on quite well. I think if he leaves, it's more because of that lack of ambition shown from FSG, which I can understand. Obviously, in an ideal world, we don't want neither of the three to leave. But if one was to leave, I think we could afford the one we could afford to lose is Trent for me, because I do think you've got Bradley there, who's more of a traditional fullback. Like, Trent is more of an equalizer in terms of what he offers on the ball. We know defensively he can defend to a decent level. All this that he can't defend, I don't believe that. I just think the way we played under Klopp, it was more creative. So it wasn't so much defending, and he had a free role. But I do think, so if we're able to keep, I want to keep all three, but if we can keep Salah and Virgil, if we had to lose one, we could afford to lose Trent. Whereas I don't think we can afford to lose Salah or Virgil right now, because Van Dijk's the leader in terms of at the back, and Salah, for me, the amount of goals he gets, and he's playing in the form of his life. He doesn't look like he's slowing down. Every time he looks like he has a bit of a dip, he comes back and shows that he adds a bit more strings to his bow and more artillery to his game.
Yeah, and I think that's perfectly fine for Trent to, again, like, having gone through all those tough, those very challenging years with Liverpool, with Klopp, through COVID, through all the restrictions that obviously playing for Liverpool have, compared to, say, some of the top, some of the other clubs, the bigger clubs in European football, your Munich's, Barca's kind of bankrupted themselves, but that's a whole nother situation. Your Madrids, your cities, etc. I will say that I think probably the deciding moment will be not just that, but Xabi, being able to play for Xabi Alonso, which Trent, being a Scouser and a lifelong Liverpool fan, will probably see, this is something I want to do as well. Again, I don't think it'll just be one thing. It'll very much be a culmination of many different things if he decides to leave. And I think that's where the world's going. Hassan, I'll throw back to you real quick before we move to our last topic. What do you think about Trent potentially leaving?
Yeah, I think the biggest blunder, or the most heartbreaking thing will be him going and going free. That will be that will look really bad, and I think if he's gone, his legacy will be like McManaman. Uh, he will not be. He will be regarded as one of good players, but not have the legendary status as Gerrard or some Carragher players like them. But I think uh, with him, it's I think more of. Uh, uh, I think it's about the wages and the glitz and glamour of Real, with Bellingham, telling him the life there and the superstar treatment they receive over there. In opposed to at Liverpool, I think he knows that at Liverpool he will be able to negotiate to a degree wages which will be amongst the top earners, but he will not be the highest paid. So I think with Real, him going to Real, I think he will be not the top earner there, but even then he will be earning more than the players over here, maybe earning more than Salah. Uh, it's just for him, what are his priorities? Uh, uh, it will be clear because with vibes coming from Salah, it's almost clear that he wants to stay here and fight for all the titles and all the records he can achieve over here. With Virgil, its vibes are also positive, but with Trent, it looks like 50-50, so it can go either way. But I really agree with Reese that Salah and Van Dijk are really crucial. They are the backbones. Uh, as much as a good player Trent is, he's a right back, and with options of Connor and Gomez, maybe we can uh, be fine. But hopefully, three of them stays.
Yeah, and to move off from Trent into our last topic, if we blundered, or if FSG or Hughes, Edwards, Schmatka, and who am I forgetting? Who's the other sporting director we had between them? I'm forgetting his name.
Ward,
Julian Ward.
Julian Ward.
Between all of them, if we got the right back situation incorrect, we at least got the goalkeeping situation mostly correct for the most part. So obviously, Alisson's back in training. Slot said he's not going to be probably playing for the next couple of weeks. Kelleher is most likely, Queen and Kelleher is probably going to remain the starting goalkeeper for the foreseeable future. Obviously, he's someone we've been trying to sell. He wants to start games. Do you think he's been hard done by being the Liverpool's number two? I feel like you always know what you're going to get with Liverpool's number two because you're behind Alisson Becker and most people are okay with that. Or is this just kind of the nature of the game? For me, I think this is just the nature of being Liverpool's number two, is that Alisson may get injured, he might not, but he's the best in the world, so you just got to be ready to hop in whenever. Hassan, I'll go to you. Reese, I'll go to you, and then we'll wrap it up.
I think the talent he have and the maturity he have, it looks like it for him. If we look at his perspective, I think it's hard being because whenever Alisson comes back, he's automatically in the starting lineup. Even Kelleher has done nothing wrong. With Now it's insane that we have three international goalkeepers, fourth one coming in. It's insane amount of depth we have. So with Keller, it was astonishing that even clubs needing a goalkeeper and they didn't went for him, like Bournemouth, Newcastle. I don't know what's wrong with them, because he's not just a quality keeper in EPL. In Champions League, he shows that uh, he's a really high level keeper. I don't know what happened. Why didn't they? Because I thought that this will be the summer that he will be moved on with Yaros coming in. Uh, it, I feel that it was stupid from those clubs that they went for goalkeepers who are not at par with him. I think uh, in the summer, um, uh, I don't know how much we are willing for him to go, and which club. Uh, let's see what happens, but I think he has been phenomenal, and he has. We tend to forget his cup runs, and winning Carling Cup with us and FA Cup. He has been crucial for us. So him going with player like him, we'll understand if he's going. We'll wish him good luck, and whenever he comes back, we will he will get a warm reception. So hopefully, when Alisson comes in, he's back to his best. Let's see.
Yeah, absolutely, and I completely agree. I think I think that Kelleher is easily one of the best 6 goalkeepers in the Premier League, and he's number 2 at Liverpool. I think he's better than Sanchez, or at least the same level. People will hate me. I think he's better than David Raya. He's not. I don't think he's better than Ederson. I think they're about the same shot stopping, but Ederson's distribution is ridiculous. I think that who has top 6? He's better than Vicario at Tottenham, in my opinion. He's better than Flecken at Brentford. For Bruggen at Brighton, I don't rate Verbruggen that much. I think some people do because he's at Brighton. The only Brighton player I would take is Baleba, because I think he's ridiculously good, and that's who Reese. So go to your point, something you mentioned earlier. If they're going to buy a midfielder, Baleba for me is the one you should buy, because he looks the real deal. Like, his control, is pressing, everything else. He looks like he would compliment Gravenberch in the summer. I don't think they're going to give him Brighton in January, at least not for a king's ransom. But if you have to spend money on a midfielder, or you choose to, I think Baleba would be the best one.
Yeah.
Reese, I'll throw it to you about Caoimhin Kelleher. Obviously, next year, it's looking like Alisson's going to stay on. Georgi Mamardashvili is coming in. Well, he's already been bought, but I could be very bottom of the summer. Mamardashvili is going to be coming in, most likely to fight out with Yaros for the number 2 position. I actually think Yaros is pretty good too. As weird as it sounds, I think he's probably better than like the bottom 5 goalkeepers right now in the Premier League. This is my opinion. But I think Yaros has shown himself to be a very, very talented goalkeeper. Again, he won the Österreich Bundesliga with Sturm Graz. So he won a league title with an Austrian football team not named Red Bull. So that does count for something. But I'll throw it to you to wrap us up today on Caoimhin Kelleher and the number 2 to Alisson. I'll add a little twist to it, though. Do you think next year that Mamardashvili supplants Alisson?
I don't think he replaces Alisson straight away when he comes in, but I do believe he's coming in to compete with Alisson, not to compete with Euro. He's already said that he wants to be number 1. I don't think he's ready for that yet, but he's definitely a talented goalie. He's got all the attributes. He's got presence. He's very tall. He's very physical. Very good shot stopper. Reactions. Obviously, we know Ali's the best goalie in the world. The only thing that kind of puts a blemish on him is that he's kind of injury prone. With Kelleher, for me, like I said, I wish we could keep all. I wish we could keep him as well with Euro, and you could have 4. But obviously, he's kind of stayed with us like a good few years when he wanted to go beforehand because he wanted more game time, and he's kind of been second fiddle. The only reason he's kind of really had games is because Ali picks up an injury every season, like a muscle injury, a hamstring, which keeps him out for like a few months. I rate Kelleher similar to you, Dan and Hassan. I think he's definitely the best number 2 in the league. I think he's better than a lot of the other teams' number 1s as well. You've seen as well over the years that he has grown as a goalie. Obviously, when he first come in, people can't help but try and compare him to Alisson, but you can't really compare someone to Ali. He is the best in the world, but I do think he's even closed the gap on Ali. Ali's still clear, but I do think Kelleher, when he's had his run of games, he's always stepped up, especially this season. We don't even look like we've missed Ali. And for me, even though Ali looks like he's going to be ready soon, I wouldn't even rush Ali back in for me, because you don't want him to get injured again. I think Kelleher has been playing well. He's kind of earned that position. I know Alisson goes back in eventually, but I would keep Kelleher in right now. And in terms of Mamardashvili, like I said, I do think he will. I don't think he's going to be number 1 yet, but I do think he's coming in to compete with Ali. I don't think he's coming in to compete with Euro. I think Euro's will be number 3 once Kelleher leaves.
Yeah, no, I think that's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. And just to wrap it all up, I think that with Cleveland Kelleher, I agree that he's not at Ali's level. If you think about, I think it's hilarious that you mentioned to keep it all four. It would kind of be the most Liverpool thing ever to have to be overstocked at goalkeeper with talent and nowhere else on the pitch. And it's like, well, we have four really great goalkeepers, but we only have maybe like three world-class center backs and a couple development. It would be pretty funny if that was the one position you overstocked in, where you only can play one of the players instead of multiples of them. At least I'm pretty sure they Mikel Arteta might be leveraging for a rule change to play two goalkeepers and take off a striker so Arsenal can get 90 points next year. But we'll see. So thank you so much, Reese Hassan. Oh, I think Hassan ended up glitching out there for a minute. I'll see if he comes back in. But thank you so much, guys. Thank you to everyone who's been following us along today. It looks like Hassan has unceremoniously left, sadly. Oh no, he's back. He's back. Oh, Hassan, I didn't play you out yet. Are you okay? I think it's it.
Can he hear you?
Yeah, Hassan, can you hear me?
Yeah, my battery or laptop just.
Oh, yeah, of course. Okay, listen, I didn't want to play us out until you came back in because it felt rude. Yeah, you're good, Hassan. Well, Reese, thank you again for being on here. Always great having you. It's been a really long time. I actually think it's been a whole year since we've actually been on a stream together. Hey, listen, 7 years ago, our starting goalkeepers were Loris Karius and Simon Mignolet. So I think we've come a long way. Every year is some new challenge. Hassan, my brother, always good hearing from you as well. Great to see you guys. Up the Reds. I hope to see you guys more regularly streams going forward. I'll check you guys out. Everyone who's been watching today on YouTube and Twitter, make sure to like, share, subscribe on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube. Get into the comment sections as I've been playing them throughout. We love to engage with you guys when we have these opportunities to do so, especially when there's not a heavy news day today. Listen, Southampton, let's see if we can get a nice 2-0 win, but knowing us, it'll probably be a glitchy 2-1 that'll be a bit more stressful.
2-1 or 1-0 or struggling 1-0 or something.
Yeah, struggling 1. Listen, at this point, as long as the Reds keep winning, that's all I care about. Reese, Hassan, everybody watching, have a good day, guys. Up the Reds. You'll never walk alone.
I think it disconnected.
No worries. See you later.
Okay.